9:25. We'll go around the table. We have two guests from City Hall, and they can introduce themselves when they get around to them. So I'm Chuck Houghton, Chair.
Rachel Johnson, Vice Chair.
Bill Simcoe, Acting Commissioner of Water.
I'm Bill Kahn, rate consultant.
Rebecca Calvin, Supervising Engineer. Sarah Terrell, HR Generalist.
And Jane Brown, Compliance Coordinator.
Sean Copat, Director of Pregnancy and WBE.
Steve Mercier, Marketing Communications.
Laura Gulfville Council.
Chris Powers, Chief Fiscal Officer. Anthony Owens, Treasurer.
Mike Franchini, Secretary.
Karen Wilkes, Project Coordinator.
Harry Blaisdell, Chief Accountant.
I'm glad you're here.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming. Right, I don't know how any of the other board members felt, but when I went through all this stuff this week, I got overwhelmed. And I just admit it, so we're gonna have to work through things today. First order of business is to approve the minutes as they were submitted. I thought they all made sense. Thank you, Karen, very much. May I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second, favor? Aye. Motion carries. You all want to make any comments? You're part of the public as well as the city hall. Okay. Staff reports, Justin isn't here, but Rebecca is here. Thankfully.
Yeah, so I'll keep it short. I know you guys are busy and I actually didn't have a lot of time to put slides or anything together. But update from lead services, I've got the dashboard I usually show you up. Just the biggest thing is total 152 replaced lines already this year. So we're kicking right along. Still hung up with the city's uncertainty about their contract to streets. So for the moment, we're on hold because they haven't decided what we're gonna be doing. Then from a capital project standpoint, the building at Lincoln Park Learning Garden has started to go up. So if you go by there, you will see
Good to see
the
you.
structure. I drove by and I was like, that thing's
It's
huge.
big.
No idea. So that's good news. Hopefully that'll be up and running before we know it. And liquid lime went online yesterday at the plant, so that's excellent news. Aeration room is pretty much done, and fluoride project it's built. It's just whether we can actually get the chemical at this point. So and then
Do you have any idea when we might get chemicals?
When the war's over.
It is, that's
When the war's over.
yeah, it's pretty uncertain right now. So
all made in Israel.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm a big supplier for world supply. Yeah.
so
It's not just us. I've read in the paper, it's all over the country. They're having problems.
We can't get a contract with any of our suppliers, so.
yeah. And then we do have several stormwater projects that are in review with EFC/DEC. We have not heard yet, but we are overdue on at least one for their 60-day review, so. Probably need to reach out to them early next week and see if any of these can start, because we're in construction season at this point. So
Yeah, they
we don't
don't-
wanna drag our feet.
They don't allow you to go to bid until they've
Yeah.
approved. We used to be able to go to bid in parallel with their process, but they don't even have them.
And lining will be kicking out in a little bit, sewer lining. And we'll be trying to put together the next version of that this year. Next couple weeks, so we can have more lining, because it's a never-ending chase on the sewer condition in the city, so we gotta keep up. But I think that's about it.
Going back to the fluoride situation, do we need to let some of the councilmen like Mr. Hovey know?
Potatoes.
He knows.
Yeah, we don't.
Okay.
So what happens if we can't get?
We have some empty tanks and some silent.
Good vision.
Yeah, we have to wait until the materials are done.
We are still waiting on a little bit of equipment out there right now, so it wasn't quite ready. Anyway, but we were anticipating we'd be done like mid-May,
We don't have our control panels
Yeah.
yet, and
probably mid-May.
can't
late
finish
May.
up the electrical until the panels are in and we test things out.
So,
With more.
Good joke, we could brew beer.
I know.
Well, thanks. Don't want to move here, so. It just holds until we can get it.
Thank you.
Any questions? Comments? All right. Anthony, Finance Committee report?
Yes. The meeting of the finance committee was called to order at 8:50. All committee members and relevant staff were present. The minutes were approved as submitted. Finance report, which included the month and year to date financials, the ERP, and an update of the audit, was provided by Chris Powers. Bill Kahn provided brief update regarding our, mentioned and commented on our financials. There was no new business to be brought before the committee. There was no reason to enter into the executive session. And the next meeting is scheduled for Friday, July 24th at 8:30 a.m. And the meeting or finance committee meeting was adjourned at 9:17.
Any questions? I want to share something with you all, try to liven up the meeting a little bit, wake you up. We're all aware that the city has got some financial problems. And we need a healthy city, as Bill Kahn always says, for us to be healthy. So I had a little fun this week and I want to share it with you all. I wrote a letter to the editor of the Times-Union. I copied the mayor and I copied the mayor's staff and I copied Chris Churchill, Pat Fahey, and a couple others. And it's about the city's problems. So I'll read it to you briefly and indulge me. I'm the chairman. I get to do this. I believe that your stories and those by Chris Churchill, the columnist, whom I greatly admire, about the city of Albany's financial problems have missed the real problem. New York State owns approximately 57% of the land in the city of Albany, but pays no real estate taxes. None. The city provides the state with police services, fire protection, emergency medical services, the use of our roads, our lighting, and even the use of the parks. The state, like Albany landowners, does pay for water, electric, gas service, cleaning services, et cetera, et cetera. If the state were to only pay its fair share of real estate taxes, Albany would not have the problem financing its budget and not have to stand out on State Street holding a 10 cup begging for alms. Sincerely. Now, I didn't think I'd get any reaction. Chris Churchill wrote me an email. Chris Ellis wrote me an email. Nestor wrote me an email. And John Riley wrote me back about it. They loved it. Now, I gathered from Nesta, and Bill and I have met with him a couple of times. They're really working the state hard to help them fill the gap. But I made it clear to Nesta and the mayor that, you know, a short-term solution isn't going to really solve the problem. And I had a talk with your buddy, the treasurer, the other day, and he just feels, and unless we get a pilot, payment in lieu of taxes, to make up for the real estate shortfall, Albany is just never going to recover. Salaries are going up, inflation is going up. Mayor Sheehan got a little pilot of $10 million 2 years ago, but it's not adjusted for inflation.
Yeah, agreed.
And it's so they're working hard on it in the city. I mean, with everything else going on, this I think I got the sense this is job one downtown. You all may know it too, but so I hope this helped, and it was kind of fun.
Yeah,
Anyway,
that's about it.
yeah, but that's the problem. And until it gets fixed, we're in real trouble. And it's affecting us.
No question.
You sent out a thing and I may see it differently than you all do, but it looked like they were paying our small bills and not the big ones. And that'll come up later in this meeting. We've got one bill of almost $1 million we're gonna pay today.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
with your approval.
What you just said, or what that you just wrote, I was talking to somebody about that last week.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. If the state does not come up with a pilot or some, regular revenue stream, or whatever you want to call it, it's not gonna be easy.
It's just not
the city of
possible.
Albany. It's not.
I don't mind the taxes we pay in the city, but I can see it draws people out.
Then we have abandoned properties in the city that, you know, will never, I don't wanna say never. But the chances of them being rehabbed is tough because you're talking about, you know, $300,000 rehab for a property that's probably worth $125,000. So, it's tough.
And it's, and it's 57% of land is owned by the state, then you throw in roads, parks, nonprofits, churches, da 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 da. It's about 25% of the land mass carrying the whole load. That's just not sustainable. And some of you have heard this before. I went to a little school in Cambridge, Massachusetts. They pay a pilot payment. I looked it up. This year it was $110 million.
Wow.
And Harvard has a big budget. It's about $8 billion, but New York State's budget's like $280 billion. I don't, so. I really have hope that this administration is really pushing on it. I think they got it. And I'm very impressed with the mayor's staff. I think she's got more going on than Bill. I think they're the two hardest working people in the city. But I think the staff is really getting in harness and they're really working hard. So that's the end of my comments. Rachel, you're up.
Sure. The governance committee met this morning prior to the finance committee, and we finalized our North Star, so our strategic planning that will be posted on both websites, one internal for us and one external for the public. You did a quick review of status of policies under review and concluded that we would be able to address those probably at normal, regular water board meetings using the normal resolution process. And if we do determine that we need an additional governance committee meeting, we will do so and post it in appropriate timing. But as of now, we are going to stick with the committee meeting schedule as posted. And that means that the next meeting will be November prior to the November regular board meeting. And at that one, we will complete all of our annual obligations, board obligations. And I will send reminder emails out prior to so that we get that done. And at that, end of report.
Any questions, comments? Bill Conn, I apologize. I skipped over you. Do you want to add anything to what you said earlier?
I will add something. You know, certainly the numbers look good right now, and but it's far too early to make any even talk about what the rates might do. But what I'd like is perhaps one of the meetings during the summer, we look at alternatives to a straight rate increase. And we've done that a number of years ago. And I'll put together some materials and we can just talk about different alternatives.
Bill's gonna talk about that a little bit this morning with the sewer bill. Bill?
Oh. Well, referring to the last time about basic creek fishing permits, and we've started telling people that we're not charging for fishing permits. And that, but we still have a process for getting a permit, because we still want people to sign that they know what the rules and regulations are. And Steve's been working on a job form, so that people don't have to come to the customer service to get a basic creek fishing permit. They could do it right online, and but we're trying to set up, so if somebody does come to customer service, we'll have some paperwork for them to fill out, so you'll be able to do that. So, you know, at some point when we get going with our dam project, there's not going to be any fishing in Basic Creek, because it'll be just a construction area. And we so we'll move it ahead with just still with a permit, but not in charge, and not having people come from Western or all over the just to do that. Fluoridation, we talked about, fluorosilicic acid is now available. It's. It's one of the major, fertilizer production, sort of offshoot of fertilizer production. It's, it probably the worst problem that fertilizer production in the world, world, is a bigger problem. I guess we had some correspondence from Saturday and we were trying to straighten out in regard to the accounts, the fidelity accounts. To make sure that we had the right names in regard to that and getting that straight around. Plus Saturday wants to enter into a new agreement, which we don't have a copy of yet, but corporately, they wanted to have a new agreement with the water board in regard to what they do for as their scope and services that they provide. So Kim said we'll be providing something for a future agreement. The watershed solar farm, I'm not sure. But
Clean something? Yeah, not much. The board had authorized an easement in favor of the property owner and the developer. We are right, I had another call with the developers council last week. There were some edits that needed to be made to that easement agreement. And that was turned over back to me, so I'll take another review and it'll be kind of in our normal course. We've already had the board approve it. So we'll just make sure it gets to you, Chairman, for signature and recording on there, and there'll be grantee or grantor, so they'll.
Is this related to the letter the mayor got?
oh, perhaps there's another. We did get a constituent letter, I think a letter from a person living near the alcove that there's a large solar farm proposed, and so Amy Walsh was going to see if what stage that was in. I think it's not. We want to make sure that we see it as when they go through their secret process,
Right.
and not. At this point, I'm not sure that what it is in the plans they have for this thing, but people have heard.
Would that be English Town Hall? Living clean stuff.
I'm not sure which it's in, but it may be right on the border of our watershed lands.
Okay.
And a person that was expressing maybe there's some environmental concern with the solar farms, which we may or may not want to comment in regard to that, but
We need to help the mayor with a reply. The letter went to her.
well, I think the reply was we were gonna check in and see.
Oh, Amy's done something. Okay, hold on.
We would expect. We would like to make sure we're shown as an interested party, at least for the secret process, so we can look at it and make comment, that there's a. Before this of the EMB.
And we've now we've had one in Queens and one in Bethlehem, and each of those town boards have been really good to us. They've been making sure that the site plan approvals include a condition that if the developer is gonna cross over our pipeline, that the developer has to get an agreement with us and work with us, so we've been protected in that way.
And this is more of a concern that person has that
Right.
it would be a water quality concern.
I saw that.
How the tributary was going to the alcove. It's so. I'm not sure, so our water quality folks will. We'll look and see. I mean, there are possible short-term effects with construction. I'm not sure about. I'm not sure what the scientific literature says about long-term effects of solar farms, but. But maybe looking into that. The as we were talking about signatories on different bank accounts, I had a question and talked to Rick Connell about whether there was insurance coverage through the city's insurance stuff for directors and officers. And it was told that the city self-insures in regard to that. So I just wanted to point that out to the board because in case the board was interested in talking to Rick Conley of the insurance at some point about insurance in general. I know in the past, there really hasn't been discussion about insurance coverage with the board. And I don't know if that's just how it's been probably.
Are we covered as city appointees?
I always thought we were.
Well. So perhaps this city being self-insured includes the board and that board authority, maybe just something to be considered.
I always thought it did. I thought we were all with as a board member.
Yeah.
Based on the entity.
Will you give me his name and then I'll follow up? Make sure we're covered.
Yeah,
Go
and also,
I'll do that.
yeah, I've talked with Rick over the years, like as we added facilities, that we still know that those properties are all added in for insurance purposes. And I provided Rick with information on our dam inspections and our dam reports. Compared to the coverage for the dams. And so if Rick has offered at some point, if the board wants to have a review.
You saw enough? Take care, thanks.
Anyway, if the board at some point wanted to just have a better understanding about how insurance works, that Rick would be willing to meet to.
I think who was after Trey as counsel? Who was the fellow wiping off banana?
Oh, TJ.
Huh?
Oh, TJ Lorraine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember asking him if we were covered and he said we were as city appointees. But we ought to check it, I'll check it.
Chairman, I talk to Rick Conley frequently on water board matters, not necessarily for your coverage as board members. So if you'd like me to.
Oh, would you? Sure.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah,
Thank you.
anytime there's indemnification language or insurance language in our contracts, those run by us.
Anything you can do to take the load off the term.
Follow up.
Albany County Purification District, there's a couple things we did have some involvement and discussions with the city auditors, Sam Fine, in regard to the most recent $4.2 million invoice and whether they could be providing more information about that. That we were also expressed some concern about the metering and the accuracy of the metering, and we got some response back from Sue Rizzo and Angelo Gallio concerning, hey, they're working on it. But I know I brought this up to the board previously, and it's years they've been working on it, so that's just I'll let you know.
I believe they held up the payment, correct, or did they release it? I think it still held up the 4 points.
I don't know,
They said they were going to, I don't know if they ever actually did.
we so the money got transferred for that.
Yeah, we paid it on our end, but they haven't paid it on their end.
And Sam Fine and his office is gonna set up a meeting. And then the other thing is on the 28th, there's gonna be a new meeting in regard to public hearing. All these 6 projects that they're undertaking, the 28th at 7 o'clock at county court is going to be a public hearing. So I think they're going back to the process by which they do their bond resolution to move ahead with their financing of these projects. And they have a new. So they provided information project by project. I had to kind of take and and summarize that into my, into an overall. So this is the.
This is an ouch.
This is a listing of each of the projects. There's several of them have EFC financing and several of them they're intending not to be funding through EFC. You can see since last year, they've gotten lined up more grants for this project. So you see $53 million worth of grants on $183 million worth of projects. And a hardship loan amount of $45 million, which would be zero interest. And they were estimating that some of these loan amounts would be at 4.5%. That might not be the case, but that was probably being conservative. What would end up being our annual debt service cost, these projects is $3.9 million. I think last year we were talking about that being closer to $5 million, so it does look better this year than last year. They're not necessarily close to implementing these projects yet, so the way that this is going to play out in terms of those debt service numbers hitting us is going to be we've discussed, I think, previously whether we might want to have some sort of surcharge in regard to the debt service from the county, and that it may be maybe hard to necessarily know what that's going to be in this interim period while we're doing such massive capital improvements. And it might be something we want to indicate to our breakers how it's.
That's what Bill Conlon was talking about earlier. Yeah.
When these projects end up going to their long-term bond, they can have a better idea of what's going to happen. But they got this might not be the only capital projects they have to undertake also. So that's
The other thing you mentioned to me this morning is it's gonna take them a while to get this in motion,
yeah.
but we may wanna get a jump on it next year. Just do a little and start building up on it.
Yeah, if we think it's gonna hit the rates really hard, and particularly near it might be better to be.
So, and yeah, you have to factor in, you're probably gonna have a natural 5% cost to 10 increase on our normal expenses. Then we have our actual CapEx notes of projects being done, they're gonna go long term. What's that number? That could be another million or two on our annual debt service on top of $3.9 million. Perhaps now the key is, all right, maybe you can't do this in 3 years, but you can maybe do this in 7, right? How do you spread this out to make sure you're not walloping everybody on a 1 or 2 year basis? So that's the challenge here of figuring out when and how far you can spread out some of these projects.
And I've been kind of suggested last year at the public hearing that the 1970 agreement between communities really ought to be looked at. I know that may or may not result in our having a higher share of the cost, but I would think besides Albany, the other communities with all of this, there's two things. One is it ought to be reevaluated. We shouldn't keep going when it was really based on where we're going to be in 2015. And then if the flow metering needs to be looked at to make sure that everybody thinks that it's accurate.
Have they any opinion on reviewing the new contract or reviewing the contract and developing a new one?
I seem to be the only one that's bringing up this topic.
They don't bring it up, no.
Cause I agree, you should be looking at that contract, that's, you keep pushing if we can.
We can say that at the public hearings.
That's so. That's what
It laid out like a capital plan like we do, or not really, comes to this money.
well, the thing that they sent they said was a summary of their capital plan.
But it's not, it's kind of like, they don't have like our smart sheet where we kind of draw it out over a certain number of years, cause I imagine it's past 5 years.
Oh, because, yeah, they've got the whole design phase and
Right.
review phase and.
I was gonna just be too earlier.
Um, So. Yeah, so they're not gonna do $180 million worth of construction real quick, that's. It's gonna take a while. But we haven't seen a Gantt chart for that, I think they've sort of suggested it might be done in a 5-year period. And of course, if they're doing this financing with short-term notes, those notes will have a 5-year maturity. Although we've seen EFC extend those maturities for some of our projects, and they're supposed to be ready to do these projects. And so that's that. Rensselaer Lake ground lease, I think we've discussed previously about the fact that we don't really intend to be using Rensselaer Lake as an emergency supply. We've got information now with the town of Albany, but the original agreement with the city was it could potentially be a source in an emergency. And with water boards now, they've been taking the cost of doing this dam improvement, but also has been running the park and doing taking care of restroom facilities and pavilions and other things, so. I'm just recommending that perhaps the has to be released from that ground lease at some point after this dam improvements in the AWB.
I told Bill this really warmed my heart because and I think Karen Strong, who used to be on the board, this issue really bothered her. And as Bill said to me, we both felt that Kathy Sheehan kept saying, yes, 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 but nothing ever happened. And as I said to Bill this morning before the meeting, the timing is bad for this. The city's in real trouble, but if they get all this money from the state and straighten themselves out, maybe that's the time to pull the trigger.
Well, so the water boards have the responsibility under the ground lease to make these improvements after they're done.
And we're not in the business of running a park.
Yeah, this is ridiculous. Let's call it what it is. This was a budget trick, and it shouldn't have never been done. The water department doesn't take care of parks. It's not been an emergency supply of water for decades, centuries, and it's just a bad arrangement. Yeah, I think you're right, though. I think you have to kind of wait till you get all the work done and then lay it down to them that, okay, done our job, done everything we can, made the improvements. Now you guys can take maintenance. Because we're not experts you're not experts in park maintenance, and you're not going to be.
We fortunately have a guy who's pretty good at maintenance and math, but
it's not.
he spends a lot of time on it and he could be spending it on other things.
Right.
Yeah, there's special events that are involved there, and we've asked us to clean up, and you don't get any revenue from. It's just that,
Well, let's see what the state does.
Yeah.
It may take till August to get a budget, but we'll see.
Terrible.
Let's see, my list of projects, did that get distributed or? So we don't need to really go through it all, but we still are working on the final payments out of the bonds of 2021. I think we're getting close, but maybe the bill was even less from this moment. I don't know if you also trustee for the endorsement lately, but we should.
We still have $1 million, and I know there's some bills that you want to draw out of them.
Yeah. 18523, we're actually closing on the long-term financing, June 6th, so. That's pretty much on that. And the line feed facility, as Rebecca mentioned, is completed, so it's in use now. 18903, now the aeration building is back in service. So aerating of them and the line feed is in service. So we're just gonna tally up what we have left under 18903. DOH wants us to do mixing basins and some work in Bobbyville, inlet and some more pumping station. So we see what we have left to do those projects, so we have them in the financing if we don't figure that out, to cover the costs. And Basin Creek and Rensselaer Lake, with pursuing those financing, CFC's been at a slowly moving aside of the funds for financial analysts do these projects, but and we also haven't really heard from DEC about the grant, so that's I hope we can get the money all worked out, so we can be working on that next year. The 19157, we haven't pursued to going for a closing, I would do some more water plant work, including filter renovations. But we may be holding off trying to get more gradually before we pursue a closing. 19554 water main improvements. We have CT Mill doing some surveying and utility research on the locations that we've identified for water main replacements. And lead service line replacement is that's the topic on which we needed to talk about a check. I had calls from both the president of Fluid Seeding and from their attorney, Joe Granich, who used to work for Port Council, actually. About, hey, where's the money we did this work last year? And so we got that money yesterday. And it's 900 some. It goes to $1 million, and we promised that we would see about getting a check cut, and what I think we're suggesting is that come directly out of the water board account. That I'm going to move through the process by which it has to come out of the treasury funds.
Yeah, I think what we'll do is 2 FIAPs, right? There's a large one and a small one. And then we'll fund that through the finance account. We'll transfer that exact amount into the finance, got the check, the finance account.
And do you sign that check?
I can send that check, yes.
You don't need two signatures.
I think we should probably do that. That's the way that we did it, for the 165 Orange Street.
Right.
A month or two ago, Commissioner and, Chris had signed, so, you actually have two resolutions that will require authorization from the water board's fund. So we'll talk about that at resolution.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure that it's we have resolutions about the.
I like this, because we're setting a good precedent, so we keep right on going.
Yeah, I agree with
Right down the road, don't look back, just keep going.
Well, we have a similar situation with Newcastle. I don't know about Newcastle getting their own pay. We needed both Newcastle and Louisiana to properly do their compliance with MWBE requirements. That was taking a long time. We've also had the DOH being more nitpicky about what they want to see before the engineering part would be released. And so we Newcastle will be the next that wants.
Manning and Central West. They have not fulfilled their MWBE requirements for the state, so. I've reached out to them a couple times. I've made sure that Chantal and Eugene, keep trying to call him Terrell, because that's his last name, Eugene. I've notified them that we need to be pressing this because I don't know how they haven't actually asked me about those yet, so.
So we have a lot of work done last year, but let's service on the place where we still haven't paid them. They paid them, so when we're showing that we still have $7,800,000 remaining in our lead service. Some of that's already encumbered with these contracts. And so we have our winter bid that Newcastle's doing right now.
They're almost complete, actually, it should be done in a week.
And we could be requesting more force account work that we've done. We haven't really decided. And that's part of what Rebecca's trying to do.
And we actually contract one streets for 2026. So that's gonna be this year's, they did put contract one out to bid. And they awarded it, and it should be signed, the contract should be signed this week for city paving. Most of the lead service for that was done in winter bid for us, but we do have 2 or 3 streets that are gonna be in that contract one. I can't remember the value. It's in, I have a little spreadsheet of where we're at for money. And we'll be under for winter bid. We'll be under that, because we unit price this stuff, so that 2.2 million. We're definitely gonna be under that because we found more non-lead than we expected. When we put out the bid, the last 2 contract streets ones were about 66% of contract value based on that happening. Finding more non-lead in the process, so I'm hoping I can get those numbers before the next board meeting as far as where we bid ended up. And maybe even contract one, because there's only 2 streets on that we're doing lead service replacement, and those will be pretty quick with the way Newcastle's been rolling. I'm mostly upset that we can't have our next group of lead services ready for them, because I don't wanna lose them, but we haven't, it's just too hard to make that decision.
So we're seeing where we're gonna stand, whether we're gonna blow through the money for this 19,456 this year, or if it's gonna go into next year because the streets projects have slowed down. And we still are waiting to hear on the next tranche of money, this 19,609.
And I have a note on that, we had people at AWB, but actually Katie reached out to me by text to tell me that DOH hasn't received their money from the feds for lead service. And that's why we haven't been notified about any award on our end. And the state will not be notifying until they hear from the feds what's going on. So we're in a holding pattern due to the feds.
So that's 19,992. 19,609, the lead service inventory. We've been working on a post-pump proposal. I don't know if we've sent it a revised one yet, but
It'd be going out either today or Monday, I think.
so we have about $400,000 worth of technical force account that we could be applying for once DOH and EFC approve our force account agreement. So there, we'd like to try to use that money and apply for more grant money for inventory just in the next round. Fluoridation grant, we talked about, that's mostly constructed, but the chemical's not available. Our long-term control plan financing 1404. We've got $6.5 million remaining, which we don't have. We probably don't have $6.5 million still project work to do. So that's an interesting situation for that. But
Gotta move some of that money to another project.
no, you can't really.
I know the answer.
Can't really do that. What we have been thinking about though is we have to do our street our Skylar and Liberty overflow things, and I guess I got a mistake there. Skylar and Liberty overflows, and that's like $4 million. 2.3 would be our cost. We're trying to do as much sewer separation compared to those things as possible. And all the projects on the long-term control plan are supposed to be done in the winter of 2027. And our CSO eliminations and co-hoses Manor Avenue will probably be the last last thing is because Troy is finishing with their projects and this little sea flowables is finishing up soon. So that's good there. Lincoln Park Learning Garden is Rebecca slowing out the building's going up and we're trying to get all finished before July 3rd. And
Rebecca, did you write the change order that was sent out?
Which one?
Your order?
Oh, the change order, I wrote the resolution, you mean the.
For the learning
Yes.
garden, whoever wrote it was one of the finest pieces of writing I've ever read.
It was Lisa.
The delay was, the contractor overcommitted themselves to all these other jobs and didn't work on it in the fall. But somebody very graciously put it a different way. Thank you, whoever wrote that. I was really impressed. Requires a golden shovel.
It's not
In college.
doing what they're supposed to do. It's good.
the 1700 is the financing on which we're gonna do the second work coming up in the summer. If we get get finished with our reviews and approvals from EFC and DEC, so we can put it out to bid. Beaver Creek's pipe gate thing is all done now completely, so we'll be looking at the final code in regard to that. The 1900 is just grant money. Once we've finished with the National Water Main, they're gonna be doing their work in May, I think now. Then that can be, we could tap out that last $387,000. Thurlow Terrace is another one we're waiting for EFC sign off, and then we'll go out to bid. The sewer collection system, as Beck was mentioning, we're gonna just start with some work. We're designing a house, which will be 2026, the landing project. But we have to select some consultants for some of the other aspects like Crooked Slate sewers and flow metering and some other larger projects.
Bill, Ezra and I are talking about that broken slate sewer replacement, what that needs to look like and what we're thinking for task order or probably an RFP for a couple of our consultants.
So those brick and slate will need to do survey and soil building, utility research stuff that we'll need consultant help with. North Hawk Street permeable basketball court is also just waiting for regulatory review and then and for the grant to be finally executed. And then we'll do that, so we're hoping that'll be soon. And the last thing on my list is this CAP program, and I talked before about Liberty Park. Going to maybe use what we already have from our financings and grants for VSC to apply to we can do more water and sewer work in Liberty Park. Because developers don't usually want to do any utility. Right. This. And Maiden Lane was brought up by the planning department as it's something we might want to be looking at for the CAP. They want to submit for the CAP. They envisioned a project that was going to go from North Grove Street to a bridge crossing over 787. But they take the density. This is not the word they don't think they use projects so they're trying to figure out if we could team up between us and them, because we have to do some water work. Sense. In which case, maybe see each of these Empire State Development grant things needs a 50% match. So at least the city could potentially, if the water board doing some more constituted some of that match, that might help to feed the phone project. So Brad Glass is going to help with me in that.
Bill, let me add something to Lincoln Park. Joe Scott and I are trying to help the Firefighters Museum move into the Trailways bus, the old Trailways bus terminal. And which would be a tremendous thing. And of course, that's in the Liberty Park and it's owned by the Liberty Park Association. So Joe's trying to talk him into giving it to the Fire Museum, but I don't know when it's gonna happen. But we did learn yesterday afternoon. And if nobody else seems to know, that capitalized Albany extended the period where people could make presentations or proposals to next Monday, the 27th. Technically, it closed a year ago, but they very quietly extended it, I guess, to the people who had already applied. But that's so maybe we'll start to know more about what's going on down there after next Monday. I don't know. Everything is secret over there, everything. I just don't get it. Any questions from Bill on this?
I have a question, and, you know. I understand the importance of the capital plan and completing these projects. But when I see. I don't see where it says how much we get to come up with. In other words, the funding is there. I see a number of them where we get interest. We can get funding without interest, but we still have to figure out how to pay for whatever it is. So I'm just wondering, can we put a column like and
I think,
We have a version of that.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, we can get you, but yeah, that's the whole, to pull this whole thing together to see what, there's a grant piece, the finance piece, what's coming out of pocket, what's the local share. Yeah,
Right.
we can get you something on that, but we're all trying to pull together from all of our different schedules.
Right.
Yeah, we'll do that. Yeah, we absolutely need that. That's gotta be the base schedule for us to make our decisions on,
right.
no question. Yeah.
Any other questions for Bill? I have one favor I'd like to ask. In the stuff that was sent out, there were all those water quality sampling reports. Are you aware of that? We got Adirondack sampling, all the stuff you sent us.
Right, well, they,
I didn't understand the word, but
oh, well, the attachments.
so, but at the next board meeting, could Rafat come and explain all that to us?
The PFAS results and a bunch of, table. Give it to you.
Well, it was the sampling reports.
You want to pull it up? It's pretty calm. Yeah. When's this?
One was some Adirondack sampling, there it is, yeah, Adirondack service.
They're all non-detected except for one, PFAS. Which.
yeah, so within our annual water, we're working on our annual water quality report. And each year we have, our lab is a ELAC certified lab, but each year we send out for a whole list of things, annual things that have to be sampled of 5 of the regulations. And yeah, we really should just give the board a tabular summary of that rather than
All the stuff.
afterwards.
It'd be nice for her to come sometime, do it with.
But
We should honor her. He's very important to this operation.
well, yeah, operating on a UX certified lab and
Yeah.
probably, I'm not sure whether board members have seen our lab, but it's pretty impressive.
Not a long time.
Rachel and I've been out there. I think you were out there, Michelle.
Not a long time.
Yeah, it looked different because we were here at 17.
And
Did they get the wall fixed with the leak?
since I saw it.
Think so?
You haven't seen it since. Past the day.
Probably heard about it, we don't.
No, in where Rafat is, there was, water was leaking in from the parapets. in the wall.
Yes, yeah, that was done with the aeration room.
And they had to wait everything else was
Well,
done.
and now the exhaust of the aeration room is full bore and it's making a massive difference in
Yeah.
the moisture in that building, so.
I gather when they turned on all the fans, all the doors closed.
Well, yeah, when they didn't have the louvers open, but now the louvers are open, it's just passes right through.
Oh, good.
It's good.
Yeah, they just put screens over the roof, so it was something that had to be something that was a gotcha
What's that?
The screens over the numbers.
Yeah, it was a missed design item that we had to
They want,
scramble to do.
they want Bernie's phone to do that.
Just don't see that. They keep it all there. Bacteria, all the other stuff.
Anything else for Bill? Hey, Laura.
This is a good segue, Chairman brought up the PFAS sampling and, sounds like we'll have Dr. Hussein come and present to the board at some point, but one of my topics to report to the board is the PFAS settlement update. This is the large settlement that 3M and DuPont entered into with respect to their contribution for PFAS in public water supplies. The 3M settlement was the amount of the pot of money that public water suppliers like yourselves can tap into is up to $12.5 billion, and then the DuPont settlement was $2.5 billion. March 31st was the date by which we were to submit our testing compensation form. So I worked with Dr. Hussein, Karen, and also Joe Reisdorf on some information that we had to submit into the settlement fund to make sure that we could get compensated for the baseline testing that we did to see if we qualified for settlement funds. The next deadline for an actual claim form is end of July. I've already started working on that. My maternity leave will likely start July 3rd, which is my due date, so hopefully I make it to then. But in the interim, I've been working with staff to make sure we have everything ready to go and submit it. National Council for the settlement fund has been great too, so anytime I have a question, I reach out to them and they're very good about that. My other topic are the tax challenges. We had some a bit of a change just in the actual case itself. We have a new judge. Also, we have the next grievance day is upcoming, so we're gonna grieve for 26, which I would recommend that we do. That's upcoming in May, so thought it would be a good time, another good time for me to ping council on the other side and say, before we bring a new judge up to speed, why don't we see what we could do settlement wise? The last offer that I made was $2,000 per acre in both, and just waiting for a response from the towns. So we'll see. I mean, if that doesn't pan out, then I'll give you another update about what we need to do for our consultants and getting ready for a trial. I think I spoke about this a couple months ago, trying to get a trial date, but then we got a new judge, so we haven't been in front of them yet. And I know, I can imagine, I'm not a judge, but I can imagine what it's like to get a whole new set of cases, so just holding off a little bit before I ping the court and say, can we get a conference, but that's the update.
Any questions? I have one.
Yes.
A little bird told me that you were gonna get a call on the 14th of April from a lawyer.
Yes.
Does that ring a bell?
I did have a call with a lawyer on the 14th. I'm sure of it, given my work now. I know what you're talking about. No update. This was for our 35 Erie Boulevard licensee who has not yet paid the outstanding balance. This is Huck Ben's.
He's current on the monthly payment.
Current on the monthly payments.
And the outstanding balance is what, $14,000?
It's
I think it was
about
around 12,000.
Yeah, well, so I had this conversation with his attorney, who was very nice, but I let him know that we're seeing the articles in the Times Union about his client buying up other properties and other business ventures, and just put another bug in his ear to say this was an obligation, it was a condition on the license agreement that the outstanding balance be paid by a certain date. That date is coming past. So it's out there again. The board is in a good position contractually if we wanted to make some waves, understanding that there are other factors involved in that, but contractually protected.
What do you all think? I mean, it's nickels and dimes. It's just crazy. The guy's a jerk. I'm sorry to say it, but we could padlock the place.
Okay.
I think we take it over and turn it into a water park. We have a lot. Slides, we could charge the public. This could be a new revenue source for 2027.
It's an historic site. Talking. It's where the office used to be.
Well,
Did the lawyer say to get back to you?
he did. He said he would get back to me, but I mean, without team, how do we make it happen, you know? So I've sent demand letters in the past. That's what precipitated us to get him an agreement that he would pay by a certain date. Again, that date has come. I did share with the attorney that there's a little bit of a credibility issue, I think, from my perspective with respect to his client, and he came and made a report to us that he would pay it. Or that the mayor's office said he didn't have to pay it, so I just informed the attorney that there's a little bit of credibility issue there.
I offered to go to Schenectady and see him. Which I wouldn't mind doing.
Yeah,
Why don't you, will you let us know when you get the next call?
sure. I mean, I can wrap it up, you know, I can keep
Yeah.
calling and emailing,
Yeah,
I can do that.
you should.
Okay,
A note on that, I know that he reached out to the county executive to see if the executive could give him land to build, to move the park to.
Yeah,
I just,
that would be great for us.
yeah,
yeah,
We don't need the money, we need the land.
yeah,
And Joe and we as a board early on agreed to this. Because we felt it was important to the city and we made a sacrifice.
yeah, yeah.
We could sure use that land.
yeah.
That'd be wonderful. to move it. We don't know how that call turned out.
You know, I'll follow up, because the executive called me, like, I was just crazy, yeah, so,
Our next door neighbor.
yeah, so yeah, let's see how that, I don't think it went anywhere, but I'll confirm that.
You know, okay. Do we have any new business before the report? Good. Why don't we do the resolutions? Laura writes them, so you don't have to read them. I like the new system. a lot.
Yeah. All right, resolution number 2621, resolution determining procurement of continuous monitoring and adaptive control technology from Opti RTC Inc. Is not subject to competitive bidding, general municipal law, section 103, and authorizing award pursuant to general municipal law, section 104B. Now therefore be it resolved based upon the sole source record, the Albany Water Board finds the procurement of continuous monitoring and adaptive control technology is available from only one responsible source, Opti RTC Inc. And that no reasonable alternative exists that would satisfy the Albany Water Board systems for stormwater management. This is a resolution that we actually held from March. We were waiting on some contract language from Opti RTC. We did approve the subscription service
Right.
in March. This one was a holdover.
Any questions, comments? May I have a motion to approve? Move simple. Second, all in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Thank you.
Resolution authorizing Cerity Partners to amend account information. Now therefore be it resolved that the Albany Water Board authorizes the following changes to the Fidelity accounts. 1. Remove William Clay, Joseph Coffey, and Michael Hall as authorized signers. 2. Replace William D. Simcoe, Charles G. Houghton, and Kaylee Ois as authorized signers. 3. Remove Tylisha Winter and Thomas Dufresne as interested parties. And 4. Replace Arifa Islam as an interested party.
You up to this?
Yeah.
Pressure.
It's interesting. It's a sign.
Just have to answer to the-
I'm glad we're cleaning this up. This is good. Okay. And I have a motion to approve. Second. All in favor? Aye. Motion carried.
Resolution number 2630, resolution authorizing payments to Peter Luizzi and Rose Contracting Inc. Street paving contract from 2. And so, now therefore be it resolved that the Albany Water Board authorizes the payments to Peter Guizzi and Brothers Contracting Inc. as set forth and detailed in appendices A and B hereto in a total amount of $985,359.26. And we had some discussion earlier in the meeting about having two signatures on that. That would be Commissioner.
I'm not sure that's the same amount that we have on the here, but.
I think maybe the agenda item was that not an incorrect number or yeah?
It's the total amount of both payouts, whereas our EOC is just what we submitted for disbursement. So that's the total of payouts. So that number is different than what we get from EOC.
So there'll be two checks.
Oh, is that because of the inventory?
Mhm.
That's because a little bit of it is inventory money, which is a different.
Grant.
Grant,
Okay.
it's a pretty small amount.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know why we can't disperse on that grant, or if we just haven't asked because it's so small.
That makes sense.
I don't think
We just haven't gone there because
I don't
it's
think
only
we
like
asked for any
a couple
disbursements.
$1,000.
For that.
We've asked for any disbursements, right?
I'll work on what we need to do for disbursing on.
Well, that number, those numbers are right.
They asked it.
359 instead of 356, and other that they're wrong.
What are you looking?
300 the writing though, the written word.
$359. Oh, 9,000.
Yeah, it's really silk.
356, not 9. Oh, thank you.
Oh, perfect. Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
the amount of money is correct, the way it's written.
Nice
is not-
pickup, Anthony, thank you.
Yes, thank you. Words. Well,
Very
Yes.
important to have a bank.
yes. Yeah. So, right, so these numbers were based on the pay applications that were also part of the resolution as appendix A and B.
Can I have a motion to approve? Move, second,
I'll second.
all in favor? Aye, thank you.
This is resolution number 2631, resolution authorizing payment to FW Web. Now therefore be it resolved that the Albany Water Board authorizes payment to FW Web as set forth in detail in appendix A here too. And a total amount of $4,172. And it should be 85 cents.
Are we paying this with a check?
Yeah,
Yes.
Yes.
we had our staff go to pick up some piping materials and we're told, we couldn't, do business without that being up from the payment.
Over about $4,000, I believe.
Good.
Yeah.
Can I have a motion to approve? No move, second, all in favor? Aye, wait a minute.
Number there's one at the top. Whereas the 85 cents up there too. And
Yes, there we go. Thank you.
welcome.
How do you do that?
Reading official statements for years.
All in favor? With the changes made? Aye, motion carries.
Okay. So it's still 2 million space between the 6 and the what was it? Okay.
Yep. Okay. Thank you.
Is ready for the next one?
Yes.
We're good, okay. Resolution number 2632, resolution approving change order 2G to Lincoln Park Learning Garden Project, Peter Luizzi and Bros Contracting. Now therefore be it resolved that the Albany Water Board approves change order 2G to the Lincoln Park Learning Garden Project contract with Peter Luizzi and Brothers Contracting, Inc. to extend the contract's substantial completion date from December 1st, 2025 to July 3rd, 2026, an extension of 215 days. There is no change in contract amount, it remains $2,067,500.
We talked about this earlier, any questions? Can I have a motion to approve?
So.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Is this something we would want to have maybe a dedication with the mayor at some point,
Oh, yeah,
maybe at the end of the summer?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, did we also need a change order to Harold Clooney's contract? the same thing.
You all
Yeah.
know Steve is wired, did he?
Oh.
He knows everybody down there. Good.
Yes, Bill, we will, I will get it, please.
Did we have a vote? No, we didn't. Did we have a motion to approve? Maybe we did.
We will get on.
Okay, so we're all set.
Okay.
Excellent.
Resolution number 2633, resolution approving change order number LMH02 to Thurbush water filtration plant line and maintenance building HVAC to T. McElligott Inc. Now therefore be it resolved that the Albany Water Board approves change order number LMH02 to credit the Albany Water Board and decrease the contract amount to $92,587.25. There is no change in the contract rotation date of January 8th, 2026.
The sense of them.
That way,
Oh, so this is that right there needs to be behind the dollar amount. It's 25 cents.
It's a credit.
Okay.
So it is a credit because we're at the end with McElligott, we're closing out that contract with McElligott.
75
And
cents.
this is returning
To
their
put it behind.
remaining
25
allowance
cents.
to us.
Or it should be. What's in front of the dollar amount, the 12,075?
It's in front, really total.
That right there,
This?
yes. Should be.
Yeah.
Put it behind the 25 cents. About, or the next paragraph. Now they're being resolved.
Where is that? Oh, not here.
In front of that.
Yeah, it was really down there. Oh.
Make it, no, now that's 25 cents, not 75 cents, or 25 cents.
Got it.
With that,
Oh, no, now you took it out from there. You need to put it back there.
we have a motion to approve as amended. Seconded, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Anthony.
Resolution number 2634, resolution approving change order number 4 to Beaver Creek Flow Management and Inflow Reduction Project to Keller and Sons Construction Corp. Now therefore be it resolved that the Albany Water Board approves change order number 4 to increase the contract amount to $3,281,310 and 38 cents. There is no change in the contract completion date of November 1st, 2025.
and that wraps up the project.
Any comments, Phil or Rebecca?
It was repair work to the existing sewer that he.
Yes. I have a motion to approve. Move second. All in favor? Aye, motion carried. Thank you. Do we have a need for an executive session?
I did have one item that I wanted to discuss.
I need a motion to approve, I'll make a motion to approve that we go into executive session. In favor? Okay, second, all in favor?
And the basis for that, it would be, so which one? I think paid.
In regard to the operating agreement.
Oh, okay. Okay,
Are we turned
Yeah.
off?
Did you say a reason? You got it?
yeah, we have it. Okay.
Yes.
May I have a motion to come out of the executive session? I want to know for the record that no action was taken, it's just a discussion. Second, all in favor? Motion carried. I don't think we have anything else to do, it's a good meeting. Thank you, Bill, you're doing two jobs. Yeah. I worried about Bill. Burning out. Our next board meeting is May 21st, that's a Thursday, just for everybody. Mike can't be here. So we need you and you for a forum. And
Is it a Thursday?
Hmm?
Oh, what's that?
It's Memorial Day.
Memorial Day is Thursday before Memorial Day weekend. All right, having said all that, may I have a motion to adjourn? So we'll go second, all in favor? Motion carried.
Prince Chuck goes in Maine every year.